G.O.D.S issue 1 finds New York explode with a bright light as Doctor Strange tells Winn that he's too old for this. Winn knows that he himself is old, and Stephen is just tired. Strange takes a magical book from Winn, finding that the endless war between good and evil wears on him. Winn wonders if the sorcerer thinks he's the good guy in all of this, and Stephen knows he is, since he fights for the light and causes better than himself, and it's who he is. Winn nonchalantly tells him that that's a good speech, but he didn't answer the question. And after a moment, Stephen tells Winn that he is good, asking if the man before him is good or evil, but Winn, taking his leave, tells the Sorcerer Supreme that who can tell the difference anymore. At Bravevort's bar, the bartender asks if he can get the white-haired woman named Aiko anything else, but the woman refuses, knowing that her husband is coming by soon. The bartender begins chatting with the woman, learning that her husband and her met at that very bar, and thus the meeting tonight has a bit of symmetry to it. Aiko decides to have another martini, and the bartender knows that her husband doesn't need to know, asking if he's running late. The woman knows that he always does, and when you consider time and inconvenience like he does, it's quite easy to be late. Winn meanwhile heads through the streets with Dimitri, coming upon their destination as Dimitri puts a small device on the outside of the house. The duo go inside and find a masquerade ball in full swing. The owners of the house welcome the gathered masked being, hoping that they will be carnal and indulge their most decadent selves. They spot the maskless Winn and Dimitri, noting that they don't have masks, but they could purchase some masks for a cost that's barely worth mentioning. Winn is frustrated, not wanting to do this tonight, so Dimitri steps in, introducing himself as the proxy to the natural order of things, and the chained apprentice to the avatar of the powers that be, motioning to Winn, who is the said avatar. The beings ask to see Winn and Dimitri's invitations, but Winn tells them that they were actually sent, since the partygoers doing something they weren't meant to be doing. The masked beings act dumb, not knowing what they mean, as Dimitri's little device, the compact, activates, identifying the beings as the Baron and Baroness of Wolverhampton, the Lord of the Land and the Lady of the Lake. The device warns them that they have given up their duties to their lands and their visas aren't in order either. Winn tells the woman, named Nimue de Lac, and the Lion of the Wolves to take off their masks, revealing one is a foxman and the other a fish lady. Winn remembers the two of them now from an ordeal in Krakow 4 years earlier, where they were picking off magical pretenders they would invite to their parties, eating them for their souls. The fish lady assures them that they only needed a few souls here and there, but now they have to eat the men to keep their secrets safe. Dimitri thinks that they could probably look the other way, but the compact device tells them that there is a planar demon hiding upstairs. Frustrated, Winn asks if they actually summoned the demon, and they do admit to it. So Winn goes to see the summoning ritual, finding bits of bodies everywhere. Lion assures them that they were not amateurs at this, but Winn, removing his jacket, asks where the demon is hiding, finding that it's in the bathroom. Aiko meanwhile regales the bartender with how she and Winn met, finding that their first meet is hard to explain, but the bartender knows how the magic works. She explains that she is a very cautious person with a scientific mind and can't help but plan for failure. The bartender doesn't think that's so romantic, wondering what her husband's flaws are that she had to plan for an eventual failure in their marriage. Aiko says that she tried to find them, but she couldn't, and it was all mysterious, and that wasn't really a good thing for her. The bartender thinks that in this age of oversharing it should be, and Aiko found it revelatory and it made her want to be romantic. She holds her glass up, toasting to 5 great years. However, she knows she had to make an impossible choice, and it's much worse than the lesser of two evils the bartender thinks it was. Winn and Dimitri meanwhile corner the demon in the bathroom, explaining to it through the door that it can either return to its own realm or they can do it the old-fashioned way, and it's its choice. The demon suddenly burst from the room, explaining to Winn that it likes it here as it grabs him and takes him for a ride through the building. Dimitri meanwhile is too busy looking up details on the compact device, finding that it is a chaos demon who escaped from planar, finding that it might have a weakness when you remove its heart since it causes the planar regeneration to kick in. Winn gets to work, ripping through the demon and pulling out its heart. The demon grabs him, muttering that hurt him, as Dimitri calls out that he just made a mistake since he misread and it said it meant hearts, as in plural, so Win must take out its other heart for it to die. Win gets to work, and later outside Bravefort's, Dimitri says that he'll stay quiet and just keep to the back of the room, but Win tells him to stay outside. Win enters the bar and goes to meet with Aiko, telling her that he has had a hell of a day. As Dimitri waits outside in the rain, Win discovers that Aiko got a promotion today. Win believes that that is a good thing, since change can be good, and he does like the new outfit she is wearing. The woman, however, pauses, getting serious for a moment as she reveals that last year she figured out who Win really is. Win doesn't really take her seriously, thinking that she just read some self-help books. However, Aiko, still as serious as ever, reveals that she knows who he really is, revealing that he is Sir Redwin, Lord of the Highlands and Root of the World Tree, Salt of the Earth. She also knows that he is now the avatar of the powers that be, and he never told her. Win pauses for a minute, kind of shocked that she actually discovered that. However, he knows it didn't really come up in conversation. Aiko knows it has now, but Win says that he just wanted her to like him for who he is, not what he was. He asks how she found out, and Aiko reveals that she started working at a new lab, and it turned out to be more than that, as it was a recruitment program that put her into a curiosity incubator, and it was like a rabbit hole test, and they tested to see who would look the deepest. Win is curious to know how far she dug into his past, and Aiko reveals she dug all the way down, since if you had a question, there was an answer there in the lab, and you just had to dig through all the research data and archival data, and it also scaled, so you could ask it various other questions, like what is the real order of the universe and what is the natural order of things, and who are the powers that be, an answer that she got, and it was Win. Win says that he really does like the new outfit on her, knowing that the Centivars always do look very sharp. Aiko reveals that they offered her the 97th position, and Win knows that that is the last prime of the Centrum, and that's a great thing, congratulating her since she deserves it. Aiko doesn't believe that it's such a great thing since her people, the Centivars, and Win's people, the powers that be, are at war. Win thinks that they are at a detente, but Aiko doesn't think so since she knows that every godly power in the universe has an opposite. However, each of these people have an abstract within them that will allow them to work together even though their very nature makes them adversarial. Every god has that, except her god and his god, hence why they are at war. Win doesn't think it's such a big deal and they could just keep it their little secret. However, Aiko knows that they all know about him and her and they want to give her a choice. Either she gives him up or she gives up being a Centivar. She doesn't want that to happen since this is what she was born to do, and she gets to do wonderful things like discover the universe and the power and the meaning of everything. However, on the other hand, she gets mortality and gets to love a good man. She asks if maybe Win could give up his power since he's already lived 1,000,000 lifetimes, so maybe it's time for him to quit and they could both be together. Win asks if that's truly what she wants from him, but Aiko knows it's not, since she knows he's very good at his job, and no matter how they try and play this, there is no getting out of it once you're in. She tells him they have to get a divorce, but Win thinks that they could just lie about it again. Aiko knows that Win is just the avatar of the powers that be, a singular person, but in contrast, she is one of the 100 Centivars of the natural order of thing, and while he might not be expendable, she would be. Win still wants to take that chance, knowing that Aiko is worth the gamble. But Aiko has her mind made up, knowing that she must divorce him. She plans on sending him over the papers, however Win, now getting angry, knows that he won't sign anything, and he'll burn them. Aiko reveals that her people predicted all of this and all of what Win has said so far, saying that the natural order of things have put the odds of the return to war with the powers that be at an 84% chance unless certain things happen, and Win is one of those certain things, and he is a big factor in avoiding war. She tells him that they need to avoid this and that she is leaving him, but Win says that he loves her. Aiko is well aware that he does, and he again says that he's not signing anything. Aiko conjures up a weapon, knowing that it's a declaration of war then. She hopes he knows that she loves him, as she shoots him right through the eye, causing him to fall through the bar's front window. She goes to see Dimitri, telling him to bury Win somewhere nice. Win, now sporting a scarred eye, goes with Dimitri to the Sanctum Sanctorum, meeting with Wong, who wonders where Win has been. Win finds it hard to remember, but Dimitri, thanks to his compact, has a detailed rundown on what him and Win have been up to, ruining the mystique that Win was trying to build. Wong wants to get going, telling them that they have to meet with everyone in the library. Win lets them lead the way, so Wong opens a portal to the Library of Worlds, a place Win doesn't very much like. Inside, Doctor Strange calls together the gathered magical heroes and villains of the world, telling them that they have grave news as the world is surely ending thanks to a Babylon event. Strange reveals that he found a bleed in the plains of Mercador, finding the Guardian twins have been blinded and the infernal glyph was taken. He followed the path of carnage and found that the proto-mage, Cubist Core, has returned, and while he doesn't know how, he now possesses the staff of the Living Tribunal. Amadeus Cho doesn't think that a Babylon event is forthcoming, but Strange introduces Dr. Saint Mayer Cercel, the second Centaur of the Centum. The man reveals the warnings paint a darker picture, as Dimitri notices that Aiko is with the Doctor, teasing Win about her, but the man is putting on a straight face, despite knowing that nothing is fine. The Doctor shows the gathered people footage of an AIM station in New York which contained long-dormant Hell technology. On the recording, Cubist Core activates the Prometheus pit, telling the AIM scientists there that God placed them each in their own boxes and they hate it all, so he's there to destroy the box and the dreams and wake the people up. He tosses the AIM scientist into the pit, yelling an incantation after the man and blowing him up. The feed ends and Brother Voodoo recognizes the spell as the beginning of an Elder Pantheon breach. Strange knows that with the staff of the Living Tribunal, Core will be able to rewrite reality in a continuum, meaning that it can't be counterspelled. Stevens says that the only weakness is it takes an enormous amount of energy, but Core has sorted that out thanks to accessing a dying universe via the Prometheus pit. He again reiterates that this is a Babylon event, no doubt, as the Doctor gives them an overview of their attack plan, wanting to attack on 3 fronts. First, with a science team assaulting the breach to close it at the pit, another made of the magical forces to hold the forces at bay and contain the Elder's flight, and the third will be the Centum attack on the mage directly. He continues detailing the plan and Win wants to leave, heading outside and getting a hot dog as the Babylon event begins around them. Dimitri is getting worried for his friend, who tells him to stop being dramatic, telling Dimitri to pick up the penny he sees on the ground. Dimitri thinks it's just an ordinary penny, but Win knows it's not just any penny, it's a John Wilkes Booth penny, something that they could trade. As the Proto-Mage gets his spell underway, Aiko leads a strike team against the being, who summons forth his Babylon event. At the Collector's Collection, Win trades in the penny, told by the Collector that this was lost in the Great Collapse and he must have it. Win decides he wants to make a trade, asking for a clock with 6 hands and a spell book. The Collector gladly takes the deal as the heroes continue to battle the Proto-Mage and his minions with the 3-pronged attack. At the Contemplator's Garden, Win gifts the 6-handed clock to the Contemplator, who wants to offer Win a choice between 4 rare vases. Win knows that he wants the weird-looking one, as Reed Richards, Black Panther, and the AIM scientists finish working on their cannon that will shut down the pit. T'Challa tells Reed that the others are overwhelmed by the Mage's monsters, so they need to cut off the Prometheus pit now. Amadeus says that the pit is shielded and it will take an hour to get through, but Reed knows they don't have an hour, as Win breaks the vase, taking the key that was inside out and giving it to the Professor, who, after ranting about not washing for thousands of years because of the chemicals in the water, tells Win that he will get him his security lockbox and he wants them to leave. Dimitri asks him about the book the god got from the Collector, and the compact begins telling him about the boot job, but Win shuts the device off, telling his friend just to listen to him, since this is the most powerful mystic tome in existence, and Collector should not have it and it cannot fall into the wrong hands. The Professor returns with the box, giving Win the translocator device that was inside of it, which allows him to teleport between there and somewhere else. Win and Dimitri teleport away as the Proto-Mage reveals that his master knows the Centaur wouldn't be happy with him with what he is doing, but he doesn't care since he understands their very existence in a way they cannot. He unleashes a strange black hole egg-like device, which begins killing most of the Centaur, as the Proto-Mage says that this is his final farewell and the beginning of a new age. At the Grand Bazaar of the Trader, Win and Dimitri find Doctor Strange paying the trader with the broken stones of power so he can use the inhuman portal of Eldrath. Strange finds finds that Win looks good, thinking that he's been doing yoga, but Win knows he absolutely has not been doing yoga. Dimitri asks why he's there since he's meant to be saving the world, and Strange turns the question back on them, asking why they are there. Win reveals they're there to use the portal as well, offering up the translocator device and mentioning that the other side of the portal is locked to the professor's vault. Trader has his interest piqued, taking the device and activating the portal. Strange reminds the men that Eldrac doesn't send you where you want to go, it sends you where you are needed, and it will only take you there in the perfect moment. Strange rushes through the portal, but Win holds Dimitri back, wanting to give it a second just to make sure it works. After a second, they head through the portal and confront the Proto-Mage, who has all but defeated every other hero, including Strange and Aiko. The Proto-Mage attacks, glad that the powers that be are there to suffer his wrath as well. Win easily breaks through his monsters as Dimitri is busy tackling a single one on his own, the compact telling him that the odds of help are slim. During the attack, Win loses the magical book. Dimitri knows that that cannot fall into the hands of the mage, but it's too late as he picks up the book, opening it to get its forbidden knowledge. Something happens though, causing Kor's power to begin to fade as Win stomps on his head. Later on, as the bright light over New York subsides and Strange tells Win that he's too old for this, Strange thinks that it was clever for him to use the bookshop, but Dimitri thought the book couldn't fall into evil hands. Win reveals that he just needed Dimitri to believe that so he could sell it to Kor. Dimitri has Compact tell him about the tome, finding that the longer someone reads it, the more it eats away at their mind and erases it, and once you start, you cannot break free until someone pulls you from it. Doctor Strange quickly takes the book, telling Win that the battle between good and evil wears on him, but Win wonders if Steven views himself as the good guy. He tells the man that he fights for the light and what is right, but Win finds that's a good speech, but notices Strange didn't answer his question. Strange knows that he is a good guy, but what does that make Win? Win knows that it doesn't matter since who can tell the difference anymore since he's seen it all, and while there is an endless war between good and evil, the real problem is that today's people don't care for good and evil anymore, and it's all about winning today's encounter in the trench warfare that they are in. He finds it all so pointless and it's all just pain. As he continues his depressing rant, Aiko comes to see Win, giving him a kiss and thanking him for saving the world and them. Aiko leaves and Win thinks that everything he's been saying could possibly be wrong.